Hello everybody and welcome to a very rainy and cold day here in Florida. I am here at Lettuce Lake Park. I am going to be doing one of the hiking spree hikes today, and yes, it is pretty miserable out, but that's okay, we're going to do it anyways. Before we start our walk, we are here at the Nature Center because this is where the restrooms are. I'm going to start my trip here at Parking Area C, just to give you an idea in case you're coming here. And here at Parking Area C, there is actually restrooms as well. So I was not aware of that, but that is great to know. This is also where you would go for the canoe launch. And the reason why I started here is because for the hiking spree, there's one big loop, and this is the loop right here. It's a paved loop. I believe it's about 1.25 miles or so. And then there's also an optional 3/4 mile boardwalk addition to this loop that you can do, and it's in this area. So I figured, okay, if I'm going to do the boardwalk addition, I might as well, be where that boardwalk starts and ends. I thought that this was going to be on the paved path, but apparently it isn't. It is on this path here, so we're gonna follow it. I'm really digging this path so far. The only thing is I wish that I wore my trail running shoes versus my sneakers, just because there's a little bit of mud on the path from the rains. But I like this one because it's very doable. The ground is super hard packed. There's not, it's not really sugar sandy or anything like that. And it just, gives you the feeling that you're out in the woods, but you're really not, because you're almost right next to that paved path as well. So this is a really nice path for especially families, or again, sometimes people are hesitant to go out into the forest and they want kind of an easier type trail that they can go out and try out and see how they like it. And this is definitely a good option for that. Now as we come up here, we have a sign that says hiking spree this way. And if I go out in the path, there's nothing saying to go down this off the trail path, off the paved trail. So now I'm almost thinking if I was right in the beginning and it was supposed to be just this paved trail and one of the signs threw me off back there. But we'll go ahead and keep going and see what other signs we notice to determine whether or not it was supposed to be just on this paved path or not. Okay, this is the first parking lot that you come across when you're entering the park. And so this is where they expect you to start and stop. So we have the Hillsborough County hiking spree sign here. We had the end sign. Okay, I think this may settle the debate on whether or not that first sign was in the right spot, because here we have to the left a interior trail and to the right the sign that says to stay on the paved trail. So it does look like that first one was pointing that direction in error. Up here we have a turn left off of this main loop, and it says we're heading into the Cypress Dome. Looks like we have a boardwalk up ahead, and I do like when they provide some information about the areas. So we're going to go ahead down here and see what we can find of interest. When the sign says slippery when wet, it definitely means it. Definitely take care, go nice and slow on these types of boardwalks when they're wet, because they are really, really slippery. You can see lots of water on the sides here, lots of flooding. It's such an interesting day today, because you don't really get so many of these overcast days in Florida, and I hate it, but at the same time I'm kind of digging it, just because it does remind me of being up north a bit and going hiking up north. Here we're at the end of this path. It just kind of dead ends here. It does have one of these things you can scan with your QR code. We've shown you these on other videos. They're pretty cool. Lots of really interesting information, videos, stuff like that. But it is pretty beautiful here in a different kind of way. Definitely looks better coming out to these places like during the summertime because it's just so lush and green. Like this time of the year, it's not as impressive in my opinion as it is during the summer. So let's head back and get back on the path. Over here we have a speed limit 10 miles per hour, and we also have a dog waste station. So good to know if you're planning to bring your dog here, no issues. And I also like the speed limit for, bicyclists and everything like that. I don't really foresee bicyclists really coming here because you have Flatwoods Park and most people are going for a greater distance than just about a little over a 1 mile loop, but it is pretty nice to see. Now, the one thing I will say is it's very obvious that I was supposed to stay on the paved trail the whole time, but I'm actually glad that that sign was kind of messed up, because what it showed was that even if you follow the signs and you take a wrong turn, because like that sign was kind of misleading, it's still going to get you to where you need to go. So let that be a lesson. I think that's actually, it ended up really turning out into a good thing, I think, because it showed another trail, and it showed, again, if you are following the signs and you're not sure, it's going to work out anyways here. Out here, kind of in the middle of the woods, or so it seems, we have some pavilions. And over here on the left-hand side, we actually have another restroom. So this would be a really good place to go if you're training for something. Like I used to go to Alderman's Ford a lot because they had restrooms throughout the path. So that way, if I wanted to do a bunch of miles, it was no issue. It does look like there is another parking area over here as well. But really, really good to know. I always like to point stuff like that out. There's a playground over here. And also some really interesting trees. And the pavilions are really interesting over here too, because to get to them, you have to actually go on a boardwalk. So that's kind of cool. I don't think I've ever seen pavilions like that in any of these parks. So it kind of just adds a little, spice and pizzazz if you're doing an event. As long as, alcohol is prohibited here, so you don't have to worry about people getting drunk and tripping and falling all over the edges of them. Quite a bit of lumber over here. Must be doing some sort of repairs, maybe on the boardwalk or something. They also have a Connex, one of those what do they call them, crates, truck crates or whatever. And it also over here has danger construction area, keep out. So I wonder if this is the boardwalk, in which case no issue whatsoever with me, because back on that last boardwalk I almost fell a couple times even though I was going so slow. So it's definitely, they're dangerous when they're wet. They really, really are. They're very slick. Not a big fan. So what I was going to say anyways was that I was not planning on doing the boardwalk. So if this was the boardwalk, that's no problem at all. And it might be or it might not be. Yeah, it is the boardwalk back there. So if you're coming here for that, it looks like it is not open. There is a sign down here, no dogs allowed on the boardwalk. Prohibited on boardwalk bicycles, rollerblades, stuff like that. Yeah, there's no railings on it or anything. So, yeah, if you were coming here specifically for that, definitely don't come. But if you're coming here for the hiking spree, you still can get that main trail done without an issue. Up here is the nature center, where I started the video and did my introduction and went to the restroom. Didn't realize it was also on the path, so that's pretty cool. Up here is what they say is the boardwalk. And I'm not really sure what the deal is with this one compared to the other one that's closed. It does say that the hiking spree is going to continue this way. But again, this was an optional trail as well. But this caution slippery when wet, I'm telling you, it is dangerous when wet. So let's go over here and take a look at this map and try to figure out what that other path was. Okay. All right, so we are here. So this branch is what was closed. So this was actually what I was planning on doing. I was planning on going here and then looping around and going back, but that's fine. I'm just gonna skip the boardwalk here and go back this way. But yeah, this right here was what we saw was closed earlier today. You hear that woodpecker? It's huge. It's on this tree over here. It was in the grass or in the bushes, and when I got close to it, it flew away. That is the biggest woodpecker I have ever seen. And there it goes, pecking away. I probably should get into birding or something. I see so many different birds on these trails. Well, we're back to the beginning, and that's a wrap for Lettuce Lake Park. Very, very easy walk for the hiking spree, especially if you stay on the paved path like you're supposed to. If you do go off on one of those side paths, I did find that they ran pretty much parallel to that main path, so that would probably also be okay. But I would like to come back here again. I think there's a lot to explore. You can do a lot more than just this 1.2 mile paved loop. So this is definitely a place worth checking out. So thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you on the next one.